Hey everyone, welcome to Alpha Insights. I'm Asher. Great to have you with us today, live as markets trade. And hey, if you have questions while you're listening, drop them at stockalpha.ai.
And I'm Morgan. Today we're focused on a wave of policy headlines that really set the tone for the cannabis space this session, and what that means for traders and shareholders.
Right. The big thing was federal hemp policy getting center stage, plus a push by some lawmakers to speed up enforcement around hemp-derived THC products. I mean, when you look at it, that can shrink the time companies have to retool labels, reformulate products, or change distribution. It gets messy, fast.
Exactly. Analysts note that an accelerated enforcement schedule would compress compliance windows and could hit revenue and margins if companies have to pull or relabel products quickly. The supply chain impacts are real, from processors to retailers, and that uncertainty tends to show up in share price volatility. On the state front, Virginia lawmakers pushed back on the governor's suggested changes to adult use sales, returning her amendments without adopting them. That heightens the chance of a veto standoff and keeps licensing timelines fuzzy. For multi-state operators planning expansion, that lack of clarity can delay openings and revenue ramps.
And over in Texas, courts moved a smokable hemp trial out a bit, which means retailers can keep selling hemp flower and pre-rolls through the short extension, essentially a pause rather than a permanent fix. That breathing room lets sellers work through inventory, but it doesn't erase the legal risk down the line.
Right. The extension is temporary. You have to watch the court calendar closely because a later ruling could force recalls or removal from shelves. So operational plans that assume sustained sales there could be exposed.
And there was an interesting parallel move from the federal side. Regulators are taking steps to accelerate access to psychedelic therapies after a broad directive to speed research. Honestly, I was a bit surprised by this one, because it signals a willingness to fast-track novel therapeutics.
That matters because capital can rotate toward mental health-focused drug developers and botanical therapies. It's a positive for the broader alternative therapeutics theme, but it doesn't resolve the cannabis legal patchwork at state and federal levels.
Right.
Quick note on Canada. Statistics Canada showed retail cannabis sales in February around 440 million Canadian dollars, down roughly 8% from January after revisions. Adjusted for month length, the decline looked smaller. So it's more evolution than collapse. You really need to dig into channel mix and pricing at the company level.
So, the real question here is what to watch next. Policy calendars are the main catalysts. Any votes or committee activity on federal hemp bills and amendments that change enforcement timelines, potential veto action or negotiations in Virginia, and the next Texas court dates on smokable hemp.
And add federal guidance on psychedelic research to that list. For market signals, keep an eye on sector ETFs and major operators. Names like Curaleaf and Tilray tend to show headline-driven moves and give a quick read on sentiment.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Practically speaking, monitor regulatory filings, inventory disclosures, and state licensing updates to gauge revenue timing and exposure. Data suggests that headlines will keep volatility high, so consider that when evaluating position sizing and risk, while remembering this is informational, not a recommendation.
Summing up together, regulatory uncertainty dominated today's action. Federal discussion on hemp rules and moves to accelerate enforcement increased near-term risk for hemp-derived THC products. State-level developments in Virginia and the temporary court delay in Texas kept market openings and product availability in flux. And federal momentum on psychedelics is a notable positive for therapeutic innovation, but it's not a fix for cannabis policy uncertainty.
Right. Key takeaways. Watch the policy and legal calendar, follow company disclosures for operational clues, and expect headline-driven volatility in the sector. For listeners, this is informational only, not personalized investment advice and not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any security.
Got questions? We'd love to hear from you. Head over to stockalpha.ai, where you can ask us anything and we'll answer live. And while you're there, check out more market content. Thanks for tuning in to Alpha Insights.